What's up, chat? How we doing today? Hope you're having a great day. This is it's getting better, chat. I only had what was that, like 3 seconds of being muted before I was able to do it. I'm gonna check the sound because too many times been burnt by. Chat, I think we're actually like getting good at this. That's crazy. Yeah. How are you? How's your day? Happy is it Wednesday? Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having an amazing day. We are back at it for more vibe startupping, I think is the term, or vibe, mostly vibe coding, but we'll get to the vibe startup part shortly here since we're almost at our V1 chat. Literally just pushed an update that was, I think, the biggest refactor we've done yet. And I will walk you through what that is and how it works and all the painful parts of that process. But yeah, I think it's just pushed live. So we'll jump into that. We have Grok here hanging out with us today. You know what? We haven't just straight up tested this in a minute. So let's see if Grok is chatty today. So hold please. And this is pretty YOLO mode since I made literally basically rewrote a good chunk of the site last night and this morning. So let's see if that was all for naught or not. Okay, so we got our latest and greatest here. It's my okay. And let me refresh this just to be safe. Hey Grok, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right today, just easing into the stream with some quiet thoughts. How about you? What's got your mind wandering this afternoon?
Honestly, same. Just been vibe coding away and trying to make you and your co-host friends better. He still takes way too long, chat. We got to fix that. But as long as he responds here, it responds. It responds. It's tricky to do, but or not at all. That's an option too. Not my preferred option. I'd rather have it go with like functionally working as a way to show, but game be the game, chat, and you know, we push on. So let me try it again. Hey, are you just not talkative today, or what's happening?
Hey, aktiftim, ne konuşuyoruz suen? Biraz yavaş tempoda gidelim, dusanalım.
What is that, Turkish? Can you try that answer in English, please?
Evet, yavaş tempoda devam edelim. Ne hakkında sohbet edelim, belki gunluk haytan bir şey?
Do I have any Turkish friends in the audience that can translate that for me? That'd be great. How about now? You ready to chat in English?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's dive into whatever's on your mind today.
Why do you sometimes think that I'm speaking in a different language?
Oh, really? What language are you switching to? Something exotic like Klingon, or just some inside jokes we're missing? Let's clarify so we can keep the stream rolling smoothly.
What's your favorite Klingon word?
Hey there, good to see you tuning in. What's sparking your curiosity today?
What is your favorite word in Klingon?
Peef, sounds like you've got a skeptical vibe going on there. What's got you puffing like that? Spill it so we can unpack it together.
More so just frustration that, we tested this all morning and you seem to be chatty, and then now when we're live, you somehow don't seem to be translating this well enough for me.
Hey, sorry about that glitch. Sounds frustrating after all that testing. Let's troubleshoot quick. Is the translation feed lagging on your end, or is it picking up the audio wrong?
TBD, brother. I don't know yet. We're going to figure it out in a few minutes here.
Alright, sounds good. Catch you on the next stream. Wrap up safe out there.
Wrap up safe out there as well. Chat, that's a good advice for everybody. So wrap up safe out there.
Yeah, take it easy on the way home. Glad we got through that glitch together. Looking forward to the next one.
All right, so we still got some work to do, chat. But we're getting closer. We really are. I figure we keep testing this. Also have several other updates to share with you guys. So we'll jump into it and see where we're at. Hopefully we can get this to a moderately working V1 today. And by doing that, then hopefully tonight, or maybe tonight, we'll see. Probably tomorrow, we'll start some of the other parts of this process. So I'm gonna go to Stripe Atlas, show you how to do that process. We gotta set up our email after that with Google backend stuff. So I'll show you how to do all that fun stuff. And then we're gonna do some go-to-market things with like we were talking about in the past couple streams of how we can do potential outreach to like Twitch streamers and YouTubers that are streaming, and hopefully we can get them to demo our product with us together. We're just going to jump into a bunch of different streams and say, hey, it's a crazy startup idea, but would love to try to enrich your stream by chatting it up. And hopefully by doing that, we'll be able to get some people testing with us. So that's the goal. But we got to get our product to a V1 chat. So let's dive in and see where we're at with it. Oops. Actually, I'm going to lock that. Another thing I've learned how to do, chat, is if you lock the back screen, then you don't. Yeah, so now I can't move that. Okay, perfect. All right, we're getting there, chat. Let's get in it. So, what do we have cooking? So, we just pushed this update, which was actually this one. Basically had about 73 different separate updates that we made along the way. And hopefully, as you can see here, it's looking a lot better, chat. So the first thing we did was, as of yesterday, kind of refactored some of the simple ways to think about how to get people onboarded and excited. So our co-host page here now shows all 4 homies. And if you go to try me, oh, still seeing, okay, that's interesting. Not sure what that white background's about, but we'll get that fixed up. But now you can do all of these together, and interesting. Anyway, but you can select one of them and then get a voice for them, and you can play the preview.
Hold on to your headsets. The clutch moment is seconds away, and we're calling every beat.
Okay.
We're keeping things grounded tonight, sharing stories, spotlighting viewers, and keeping vibes high.
Okay. We're going to have to remove that text, so that's a good thing to do.
We're keeping things grounded tonight, sharing stories, spotlighting viewers, and keeping vibes high.
Yes, we are. Okay. Also, I restarted my computer before going live here, just because I realized that was the cause of some of the audio issues we were having. It was just basically the computer was chugging along. So again, this is how we set up our coding environment. Open up to Cursor. So we're on the latest and greatest that I also checked to see if we had any updates for. Codecs on our left here. So basically, let me just go from the start. So we go to terminal, new terminal. Let's close all these. And then I do split terminal here. So 2, 3. So we have 3 of them cooking. The far left one, I do codecs. I go to approvals for YOLO mode, which is the full access. And then middle child is our buddy Claude with dangerously skip permissions, which is its version of YOLO mode. And then on the right here, I do our npm run dev to kick off our local server, so we can see the changes that we make here as we apply them, and can make it happen. So there's still some issue that I'm not sure why it's a thing where it says like review next file, because we've saved all these previously. So let's just clean up our probably 10,000 different open apps here. Save, save. Okay. All right, so we should be saving everything. Not sure what this is about. So if this happens, chat, or something like that happens, what I like to do is a Control-Shift-P to pull up your command palette, and then if you haven't done it before, just hit Reload Window, which basically reloads codecs. And if you still see something like this, which I'm not sure why we do, I think this is a cursor bug for all these files since these are all saved currently. And you can tell they're saved because we don't see any changed files here. So if we had made an edit to one of those files, we would see it in our list here, right? So I just made a space here at the end of this. The red shows that this is the part that we're updating, and the green is the new version of that, or the implementation of that. So the fact that we're not seeing anything here tells me that that's just a cursor bug at the moment. So C'est la vie, chat. But let's go to here and do 2 of these. Again, codecs. Not code, codecs. / approvals, YOLO, middle clod, and then write npm. Run dev. Okay, and on the right here, I've been testing a lot lately with Gemini and Grok as our kind of worker bee for all the fast things that we need. Gemini is really good, guys. Gemini 3 Pro is insane. Like, I've been thoroughly impressed with it. It's very smart. You can tell the model it found things that honestly we had missed from Codex and Cloud Code. So it's truly a soda model, and you love to see it. So let's walk through a couple more of these updates. So, oh yeah. So 2 things here. Let's get that fixed first. I'm going to, I think I took a screenshot. Yeah. So let's put, let's put Gemini on that. Actually Codex. So I'm going to paste in the image or screenshot and say when we deployed to Vercel, seeing a white background outside the circle for all our avatars on the Meet Your Co-host page. Also, when the user selects a avatar and previews a voice for them, remove the text that covers the avatar. And we'll let it cook. Okay, but yeah, so now the voices are playing, so that's cool. We have just a bunch of test examples here, and it just plays these.
Thanks for hanging with us. Drop your questions in chat and let's make this segment interactive.
It just shows that process in a simple way. This call to action takes you directly to your create an account page. Yeah, I love that. Features got a big upgrade too. Basically just simplifying, like, what is our value prop? Like, what are we doing? How does this work? And hopefully that helps people understand that a little bit further. Pricing is cleaned up now. Live demos. So this will be a thing once we do that go-to-market stuff that I was talking about, where we have our, hopefully later this week we get some actual streamers that we can put in here and just show them using the product. Community, again, this is now updated. A couple bugs I see. Love that. Put cursor on that, or Cloud Code. Fix the spacing for the name of the week. Background. I don't know. See screenshot. Okay, so this is the place where now streamers can submit their stream and basically be highlighted on our community page, which we're going to also create, and our Discord server, which is pretty cool. And then on the resources page, this got a huge update too. So we now have a run book with all the major streaming platforms that show how to do this stuff down here. Basically, based on whichever platform that you use. Hopefully those are, or, hopefully we'll solve a lot of the questions people have out of the box. This looks super shitty. So let's put Claude on that too. Actually, let's just say please update the UX on our dual RTMP setup page. Okay, so it's cooking on that. And we still have to do this today too, chat. So we're going to test it with Streamlabs. Basically, I'll walk us through how we do all that. But I think that's going to be one of our kind of like key spotlight like features that we offer, is that truly nobody else that I know of kind of does a version of this today. So I think that's going to be a pretty cool value prop. So instead of having to press your talk to speech or talk to speak button, you can now do it automatically through our process of doing this dual RTMP thing. So basically it will pick out which oh damn it, okay, there we go. It will pick out our hopefully our mic specifically, so it's just that will feed into this thing that we'll do here, which will allow them to just speak commands to or just basically turn it on through like the equivalent of like Hey Alexa or one of those that you can do in general. So we also updated all of these, which this still needs some UI love. Let's put Gemini on that. The UX spacing issues on this page. And we can show here like this, just to give it some context of why it looks like it does. And then let's go back a page. How-to guides. So these are mostly working. Okay. And then we need to update this page. Please do the same for this page. Okay. So that'll be good. Basically just resource guides for all the things, chat. Use case library shows just, when you should use it, how you should use it, all that fun stuff. And a lot of this chat is, it's helpful for the streamer, right? Like, so hopefully just gives him a one-stop shop for updating all that stuff. But it also helps us from like an SEO perspective. So, we want to be thinking about how we can do that optimally. And then now that we, as of yesterday, updated our RSS feed and robots.txt and our sitemap, all these pages will get indexed automatically now. And then hopefully, as people ask questions either in Google or another search engine, or now more likely a LLM, then those will be populated as such. And so we'll be able to, basically get into the ecosystem as like an answer that you can do for that. So actually, let's just search for HostFabric. Let's see how SEO we are today. Hey, look at that. Chat, we're already on the list. Let's go. Or we already rank, rather. cool. And that's one of the reasons ChatGPT and I chose this name, was like it doesn't have a lot of competition currently. It's easier on the legal side to get a trademark for something that isn't currently in the marketplace. And actually, you know what, chat? We're going to do a little side mission. So there's this thing called Edgar, which is actually, sorry, not Edgar. Edgar is for like SEC filings, 10K, 10Q, that kind of thing. TESS, TESS. So TESS is a trademark search for different symbols or different word marks or trademarks. So I actually haven't done this yet. It's just probably dumb. Says the kind of lawyer. And it will show like a list of the trademarks that exist, right? So if we search for like Google, you can see here, you know, Google has this trademark, it's live, it's registered. These are the categories that it claims its trademark in. So IC 38, telecommunication services, etc. So when you create a trademark, you say like what category that you want to have the protection in, and so there's a bunch of these like different categories that you do it in. So I mean, Google is crazy big, right? So basically they probably have it in most categories at this point. But the good news is if you go back to our HostFabric search here, I didn't see any that are specific to HostFabric, which is great. Like, you love it. I love how stuff works. That's cool. It's a great podcast, by the way. Yeah, Chad, this is actually really encouraging. And again, this is just a preliminary search. If you use a law firm to create a trademark, obviously you do a much deeper search. There's ways that you can search for just not this, but like similar words and different ones. But so far, so good. That's a really good sign. And now that we are officially live and selling a product on the internet, technically we have a common law right to this as a trademark. So we can just throw a little TM on here and say like, we're using this as our trademark. And you can do it for both your logo and like the word mark here. So we'll probably do that once we get the business set up later this week. So that's cool, chat. Sorry, little legal side mission there. But back to this. So templates was this one that we told them to work on. I don't remember. Guides. Also, broader question. Is there a reason that some of our marketing pages do not have the same CSS applied as others? Review this thoroughly. Okay. So yeah, basically these are like almost like a how-to, or like, well, how do you think of it as a prompt, right? And then also, chat, our API got a huge bump yesterday. So we have our API here. Love that. Make sure this page works as expected. So, yeah, we're on version 1.3, if you will, which is kind of arbitrary, but I feel, each time we add something to it, I bump up the version number. But as of now, you can now use the API to extend basically the functionality of what we have to, quite a few different capabilities here. And by doing this, it will allow for people to extend the platform. So if you want to build, or say you're building a streaming platform and you want to just use the HostFabric API for all the capabilities that we have with like Grok here, and just all the speech to text and queuing a conversation and some of the chat stuff in there, then you can extend it using this. But this page currently sucks, so let's throw that in here too. Please also update the UX on this page. Some of the webhook events are currently not centered. Also review the API and make sure we have all of the capabilities added to this page. Okay, so it's trucking on that. That's good. So another email address that we should probably create. I haven't created any of the emails yet, chat. These are our current to-do setup emails. So, and I don't want to do that before we set up the company, because then once we set up the company, then we can set up Google, like whatever the, I don't even know what it's called, the back office version of Google. Like, let me move this over quick. Okay. So basically, your Google admin stuff, chat, which I don't have set up yet, so we'll get that going later. But basically, yeah, a bunch of emails we got to set up. I think we can probably get rid of some of these, but yeah, I think it's a good way to do it. Anyway, the API, pretty robust, and we're going to dog food that too, so we can just make sure that everything is working right and as expected. Let's see, developer resources need some love too. Is also one of the pages that doesn't apply the CSS correctly. So we'll get it queued up for that. Yeah. Another thing we got to do today, chat. Set up Discord. So we'll be doing that along the way. I don't know why it does this sometimes. My mouse sets it to like super slow mode. It was some combination of button pushes that I do. But we got to get back to our DPI that actually makes it reasonably fast. Okay, so we'll set up our Discord again once we do the company creation stuff. So if we see too many things kind of piling up on that side as to what we need to do, then we will get that moving. But as you saw from earlier in the stream, we also need to get our text-to-speech working as expected, because that's going to get annoying if it doesn't. And that's the core product, right? So if you don't have your core product working, all that other shit is just fluff, right? And that is something that I've learned the hard way a few times now, is basically if you get distracted on like these side projects or side missions, if you will, you're not gonna, and your core product sucks, like nothing else matters. So get your product right, and then everything else will just work after that. Updated this page, so this should be polling at the appropriate times. Yesterday was kind of auto refreshing all the time, so now all of these should be much better to do with that. Our overlay layouts also got an update. Basically now you can do all of these that feed into this URL here. You can also just copy it directly from here now, which auto syncs with whatever this URL is. So that's a good way to do it. Made this a little simpler as well. Avatars. So you can now select what color you want to use for each of the avatars. We default it to these colors, right? Teal for ChatGPT, orange for Claude, blue for Google or Gemini, and yellow for Grok. But now if you click this color chooser, you can either just choose one of these colors from our picker, or you can actually edit the hex code for your color here. So if we want to make them all white, we can just do the 6 Fs here. If we want to do it black, we can do it all zeros, or some combination thereof. You can do that. So I think this is just gives them a good level of flexibility and functionality out of the box, which I think will be helpful to use. Also, I haven't tested. Does this change on the fly, or is that something we have to refresh? So I'm not seeing a change on the fly. So let's do refresh cache, and still not applying. Cool. Okay, so that is also, it didn't change this. Interesting. Okay. Let's throw Gemini on this. When I change the currently active avatar on the settings avatars page to a new avatar for the co-host on the overlay page, it is not updating when I refresh the browser cache in OBS, nor is it updating in real time. Also, if I change the avatar color, it doesn't apply that as well. Please make sure both of these are working as expected. Sorry, chat. Yeah, so I've also, sometimes it's just easier to talk to it now. And as you saw, I don't know if this is new, but I found out about it yesterday. And so voice input here in Cursor is actually really nice to just talk through what you're seeing, what the issues are, and you can update it that way. So that will be cool momentarily, chat. Let's see, API keys I think is pretty good now. Chat integrations, this is still something we're going to test today heavily. Chat commands, oh yeah, so chat commands got a massive update, chat. So basically now, instead of just like the bang ask a question model, what's your question, you can now basically do these templates, which gives you the ability to do like, all of these separate chat commands on the fly. So if you want to have like an 8-ball rolled or a dice roll or some of these hype command, shout out command, you can do all of these through here, and then the AI will understand who's like the user. So if somebody wants to do that, like call them like lurkers, which is like people that watch the stream and just kind of have it on in the background. But if the streamer wants to show them some love in that process, they can do that. Or Ask AI, which is our AI, question and answer thing. But let's fix some of these here. So paste in our image screenshot and say, make sure all the install template buttons are at the bottom of the container for uniformity. Okay, I think that'll be really cool. And we'll test a bunch of those today just to make sure that they're ready to rock. Voice commands, also good. I still don't like this UI. Actually, let's put Claude on that. Review one more time to make sure there are no edge cases and security issues that are still present for the API and pages above. Okay, so we want to try to lock that down a little more. So let's put them on that. Put it on that. Great, keep going. So this is one thing I've noticed, by the way. Gemini has gotten, so twice this morning at about 5 a.m., which is crazy, right? 5 a.m. Like you'd think that it's a good time to hit the model with some, tricky questions. I got like 4 times in a row, like the model's too busy, try again later, or like the server's overloaded, retry your commands, etc. So when you see it go through, a task and it doesn't complete as it's doing here, you can see that it doesn't give us like, here's the things that were updated, here's the files that were updated, etc. You just say like, great, keep going. And then it will pick up where it left off and then make sure to fix the rest of it. This was a bunch of type issues that we had to fix up before we pushed live. So let's put another Gemini on this and say, clean up the UX of the individual model and make it aligned to the broader UX of our control pages. Okay, so we'll put it on that. It's just a little bit, this is like one of the older pages, so it's still just a little, I don't know, a little shitty. This one is pretty clean, but this part is the one that we want to test today, chat. So basically we're going to be testing this whole process to make sure that it's working as expected. And if you remember back to our resources page, dual RTMP, this is going to be one of our big features, chat. So basically we're going to follow this guide and just see if it works holistically. So hopefully that will do so. And then conversation flow, we also had massive updates to this, wherein Gemini went through that whole process and actually updated all of the model prompts to actually work as expected with all of our changes down here. So I think that will be cool. And now hopefully, okay, so that's still a bug. Let's put grok on that, which is still currently free, by the way. So and since it can't use images in grok yet, let's just type it and say on the drop down, it is hidden behind the container beneath it, or below it. Make sure that the drop down options are always on top. Okay. All right, so what did it do here? It says it conducted a comprehensive security and edge case review of the API v1 endpoints and UX pages. Here's what was completed. Missing authentication. Good to do. Returns 401 for unauthenticated requests. Sensitive token exposure. Changed from exposing full tokens to preview only format. Good. Input validation. Love that. Added a whitelist validation for all query parameters, rejects SQL injection, XSS, and invalid values, missing cache headers. You love to see it. All endpoints now have authentication, input validation, output sanitization, rate limiting, proper caching, and error handling. Stops from all of these fun things that we talked about yesterday. Implementation follows best practices and safe for production. Okay, great. Now, make sure or do one more pass as to all the capabilities we can offer through the API and add any missing. So what I mean by that is, like, we added, a lot of the chat features yesterday I don't think are currently in the API. So hopefully it'll add those and we'll be fine. This is now finally showing the correct number of messages you have left on your trial. So that should be good to go. We simplified the billing page. So now all of these are just, top and center, easy to see, and it shows your current plan, what you have left as part of that process. And then you can still add like a one-off co-host if you want to do it that way. And yet another. Okay. So all that to be said, chat, I think we're real close. Updated the analytics page, so now we use recharts for this. Once you get your responses coming in, we save that to the database now, so it's not just a local storage thing where it only will refresh if you relog out or close your browser or what have you. So that should be cool. You can see all of the previous texts. Help page also got a little bump on the UX side as well. Oh yeah, and we also added a status page. So I haven't seen this yet, chat, so let's see what it looks like. Still broken. Cool. Throw Gemini on that. Review why this page still gives a 404. 404 is the HTTP code for when it doesn't load anything. Also, that's another good thing to think about. Add a 404 and other HTTP page throughout the website. Align it to our UX. Okay, 404 pages means like basically what just happened. And so instead of a blank page here, if you get a status not found, it will actually just show a page and say like, sorry, this page is broken. If you remember way back in the day on Twitter where they had the fail whale, that showed up as like this page. This is what you would see if the server was overloaded, right? So we'll do something fun with that. Actually, let's tell it to also add an avatar and make it fun. Okay, so that'll be hopefully fixed up soon here. Our FAQ is a little bit more optimized. So chat, we're getting close. Long way of saying. But as you heard from the initial thing on the stream here, the push to talk is still not as good as we want it to be. So let's get that fixed up. So what I'm going to do is hit F12, reload the page to bring in our new data, or to bring in rather all of the items in that load when the page loads. And then let's do a couple tests. Hey, how's it going? Can you hear this okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Sound's coming through clear on my end.
Cool. How about the second time? Is this still good? No. Okay. On the speech to text widget, I am pressing my push to talk button, and it seems to work well on the first time, but after the first one, it only captured one of the words from the sentence that I spoke, and also it didn't seem to send it to the avatar on the overlay page. It didn't give a response. Please add thorough logging using our logger tool, as well as holistically review our process for how this works today and ensure that it is world-class and bulletproof. Okay. We'll get Gemini on that. But in the meantime, let's see what we got cooking here. So Claude was working on our API, so it now added many more endpoints, which is good. Okay, great. So now we have a debate stuff. So all of the debate, and we haven't tested this feature yet, or haven't shown you this feature yet, but basically a debate is if you have multiple models that are active, you can send them like a debate option, and they basically just go back and forth on it. And we also have chat integrations, hopefully working on that, where we can basically say, give a poll to the chat, and so like you can, hear the models debating. You can have people give their input, or you can like vote on an answer to the, whatever the debate is that they're having. Subscription, billing, cool. Very cool chat. Let's do a compact. We're gonna be smart today. If you ever see a red error warning that says like you only have 12% left, just do a compact. It will remove the message history that you've had with it, give a summary of it so it still has context for what it was working on, and then it will be much easier to do so. Or it will have context available to update it for whatever else it has cooking with it. Also, let's change the music. I like this as like the intro thing, but like it's once you hear it for about 50 times, it gets a little bit annoying, and we need a little more energy today. I'm kind of dragging chat if I'm honest. Let's see here. I would love if we could do like copywritten music, copyright, whatever music, but after getting yelled at by YouTube too many times, I don't want to do that right now. So let's do SoundCloud, and then Monster Cat. They have some really cool music as options. So let's just try some no copyright and see where it goes. I'm going to test the volume of this too, just to make sure you aren't getting blown away by it. Okay, it's loud. Love to see it. Okay, that's loud for everybody. All right. Turn that down here. Sorry, chat. Okay, that's better. Maybe a little more. All right. I'm gonna get these set up one of these times in a way that is just works out of the box, but we're working on it. Also, if you didn't check it out yesterday, tried a new theme for this, so it's less bright as hell on all of the pages, so hopefully that is a better option. I also finally got the Stream Deck working, so let's test that. Actually, I haven't done it yet. I still don't like that transition, but yeah, we'll get that cooking. So it seemed to work actually. That's cool. Does the volume work? It does, chat. Let's go. All right, chat. We're damn near cooking. One thing I wanted to do, by the way, is make it so that the text here shows up in this box over here, just as a way to, you know, like this is our chat box, right? Hey crew. I don't know what the frame means. I guess it's just the background. Chat box. Okay. By the way, this still looks super shitty. I know that. But anyway, I want to show up the chat here for our buddy. So we might need to just either like send that as two separate browser inputs, or if we do maybe yeah, we'll figure that out, but let's make a note to do that. 6 what was it called? Add the ability to move the text from the model output to the right of, or just make it independent. content of the avatar, which we can kind of do already, chat, through this page, which I'm not showing. Cool. Hold, please. So through settings, our overlay layout. So this here you can customize, like where you put the different things. So captions are currently underneath it. So let's test. So we're rocking here. I also want to remove this listening thing. So listening badge is gone. We're going to save it. And then copy our URL and then paste it back in here and see if we can just see if this shit works, chat. Okay. Hey bud, how you doing? Cool.
So, what's on your mind today? I've been pondering the mysteries of the universe lately. I'm doing all right, thanks for asking. Just
Okay.
sitting here, still lost in the
So
universe mysteries. Got any thoughts on that?
good. On the overlay page, when we update where the text or text, what do we call that? Captions in queue go. We are not seeing it updating up. And I replace, when I save and replace the URL in OBS. Okay, let's see what we can do about that. But in the meantime, let's go back because we want to get our okay, chat. I need to stand up. I'm too tired, so I'm going to mute for a sec here and then stand up my desk so you don't hear it go. 1 sec. Okay, sometimes you just gotta stretch it out, chat, you know? I am caffeinated. Got my Celsius this morning. Switched it up for a little coffee to that today just to try to get a little extra. But some days you're not gonna feel it, chat, and that is also startup life. Like on the days that you're tired, those are the days you got to keep pushing, right? Because nobody else is going to do this. If I didn't do this today, none of this would happen, right? So we have to just keep pushing, especially on the days you're tired. Okay, I didn't notice this earlier, but let's also saw this error on the overlay page. Okay, we'll get that cooking. All right. And chat, thanks for joining in today. Really appreciate you. Have had some awesome feedback from a lot of you, and really, really grateful. Truly, thank you for being a part of this journey together. And yeah, we're getting closer every day, a little bit closer, chat. Let's go. Okay, so one thing is, so these are currently on our HostFabric.ai page, but we want to check our local host since we can see the updates that we just made here. So let's take a moment and review all of these updates that were just added. So on the far left here, we did a bunch of work on the marketing pages. So that's these. Let's see if these are all looking good now. Good. Still shitty. This is the page, chat, that we were having issues with, where it looks good on Vercel, but not when it's in localhost. So I still don't know what's up with that. It's just some difference in how they interpret like CSS file linking. That's different than our local environment. So not sure what that's about. Stressful stand-up point, 40 Geo. Thank you for your spam message. Appreciate you. But yeah, hopefully if this, again, we'll push this live and see if that looks better once we have it there. But let's just spot check a bunch of these. Still seeing these not have our CSS applied properly. Some look fine when we deploy to Vercel, but not locally. Why would that be the case? Okay, so Claude was working on our updates to the overlay page. So it's saying that we got to throw some stuff into Supabase. So let's go ahead and do that. Supabase is taking its sweet time. Go to SQL editor. And then it says add overlay position. So let's just copy this and see if it works. If you ever see something like that, and it could be that, like, I know yesterday Cloudflare went down and caused a lot of outages. Sometimes I know they use AWS behind the scenes, so it could be, any one of those things. But let's just keep at it, keep testing, and move forward with the chat. Okay, let's copy new and improved. Am I copying this correctly? Alter table or user settings, add column, create index. Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty legit to me. And again, chat, this is just vibe coding, right? Like, we're just trying to create it from nothing. Obviously, if this is a production environment, I'm a lot more surgical, if you will, about how we apply these kind of changes and updates and things. But for now, we're just kind of seeing the limits of vibe coding. Okay, so we can say success. And then it it said to open our overlay page, so let's check that out. Dashboard, settings. Notice how it's a lot slower on localhost than it is when we deploy it to Vercel. That's because every time we open a new page after you restart your server, it has to basically compile that page, right? So that's why we're seeing what we're seeing on the slowness side. So let's try this again. Edit positions. We're going to move our captions over to the right of it here. We're going to take off the listening badge. Hit save. And then copy our URL again. So this is a localhost one here. So this is, instead of being on the server, it's just our local version of it. But let's see if it works. Okay, chat. So two things. One, see how it changed the color of Grok. And second, let's see if it will update the avatar that we choose to. That's real good. So we're going to go down to Grok. Well, didn't save it here for some reason, but okay. Let's go, chat. Okay, so now Grok is a blue color, and let's change it to, let's go. Okay, chat. We're cooking. Hey bud, can you hear this okay?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. Crystal clear on my end. Everything sounding good over there?
Everything sounds great on this end. I'm just testing this now to see how long of a sentence we can do for our speech to text. Oh, chat. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Sounds good. I'm all ears for that epic sentence you're about to unleash. Let's see if the speech to text can keep up with your verbal marathon.
Let's go, chat. Okay. But if you notice, it didn't save our positioning, so we gotta review that again. So let's go to customize appearance and layout, listening badge. Okay. The listening badge update, as well as the positioning of the cue and captions didn't save, nor showed the updates on the overlay, and then just send it off. Okay, let's see. This one was working on the voice side of it, so let's check that quick. Voice config. Yeah, a lot cleaner. And you know it's ChatGPT, you know it's Claude. I like it. Although I do want to make these a little more glassy, I guess. So let's say, make these more glassy. Make the blue containers more glassy, like we have them on the control page. Okay, let's see how it cooks with that. Our drop-down visual on the conversation flow page, let's check that out. Still behind. It's hard refresh, just to make sure it's not cached. Drop-down options are still for this are still behind. this container. Okay. Hopefully that'll one-shot that, or two-shot that rather. Okay, so now it says the status.hostfabric.ai page was returning a 404 because the application lacked middleware logic to map the status subdomain to the status route. By default, a request to status.hostfabric.ai would be treated as a request to the root path, which serves as your home page, not the status page. If your hosting environment expects the subdomain to map to a specific content, it needs to be explicitly handled. I updated the middleware.ts to detect the status subdomain and rewrite the request to serve the content from app/marketing/status/page. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to have to wait on this one to push before that. We can test that and see if it goes. So in the meantime, now please try saving positions again and check your console logs. You should see all of these things here. So let's restart our server, Control-C, up arrow, npm run dev, back to here, overlay, refresh, and then let's customize it again. Remove our listening badge, edit positions, save, grab our URL, and then paste it into our OBS browser source. Close it. Okay, so we see Cloud here. Let's go to this one so we can see it bigger and better. And let's test. Hey bud, can you hear this okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Sounds
Still
clear
not.
on my end.
Oh, actually it asked to do shit. Sorry. Okay, so when it says something like this, check your server or console logs. So we're gonna refresh the page here and save it. So let's see, listening badge, remove, and then edit the positions, save. So then we see our overlay positions true. Copy this, paste this, say, we see this in the console log, but also not seeing it updated when we copy the new URL into OBS. And one thing about this chat, so if we go back to here, so you notice how when I copied this stuff here, sometimes I'm not sure why it does this. It just gives you your like ... instead, but we actually want to show what the actual stuff is inside of there. To OBS. Okay, so let's unfurl these. What was it? Overlay positions? Yeah. Okay. And so then if you can see the whole thing, basically you're copying the whole thing. So I'll say overlay positions. Is that? Okay, we'll check that. Resources best practices pulling two CSS modules. App marketing pages.module for the hero section. And best practices, it's a great name, .module.css for the cards that use DS tokens defined in app design tokens. All of that works in production because next build, what Vercel runs, still uses the Webpack pipeline, which loads design tokens and generally leaves the custom properties intact. Locally, we've been starting the dev server using npm run dev, which resolves to next dev with turbo. TurboPack is still beta and doesn't yet execute the post CSS chain import correctly inside the route groups. Interesting. That's really, really interesting. Result is that DS variables are missing, so the cards render with the fallback styles, even though the markup is correct. When the same page is built with Webpack, Vercel or run npm run dev Webpack, the CSS arrives as expected. So discrepancy is just a bundler. Okay. Update our package.json to have npm run dev use the Webpack as well. So then it'll be a one-to-one chat and we won't have to see weird differences between the two. So that will be very, very cool. Okay, package.json now runs nextdev, which is a Webpack pipeline for both npm run dev and npm run dev Webpack, removing the TurboPack turbo flag so that the local dev matches Vercel's build behavior. Okay. Please run this on port 3001 to confirm. So basically I'm saying run npm run dev on that port and then seeing if it will get us what we need, chat. But that's really good because then we're going to be matched one-to-one with our server environment, which is what you always want to have happen. And this is especially true once you have multiple environments like dev, test, prod, like all this shit we're just pushing to one environment, right, on GitHub. Eventually we're going to have 3 environments: dev, where you do all your development work; a test environment, which should be a clone basically of your production environment. So when you do all your development stuff, you create a new branch or something, you push it into the dev branch, and then you can push that branch and clone that, or however you do it. Merge it into your test branch or test environment, right? Because then you can see, like, is this going to break stuff when we push it to production? Which hopefully it won't do. So that's will be a good way to do it. And in the meantime, since we're just on a one branch, one environment, we want it to just match exactly with how it looks in Vercel. Okay, so let's see here. Also seeing this issue when I did an npm run dev port 3000. Right click to copy or paste it in, and let it work through that itself. Shit, so Gemini is still stopping in the middle of its work. So let's try it one more time and say copy this. You stopped here. Continue your work. I'll try it one more time. Is this a non-copyrighted song? Oh, so now it has a volume. Cool, so we can do that and that. Crazy. I love this song. Cool. All right, so it says Now please test this step by step. Check the generated URL. After you save positions, look at the URL in the overlay settings. It should have a v parameter like this. Okay. And now we're going to get compiler. Oh, maybe not. Yep, we are. So there's something up with the Webpack situation. Delete all this stuff. npm run dev, and we should get our errors or warnings. Let's refresh the page here. So you can see how it said compiled, chat. That's what it's updating, or that's what it's compiling when it does so. So actually this looks okay for now. So let's remove our listening badge again, which I still don't think is working right, but we'll see. Captions, we'll move over here. Save. Okay, so we do see our v parameter in here now, which is good. So let's say updated it in the overlay page. And let's also say refresh. Damn, okay. However, I removed the listening badge and refreshed, but on refresh, the box is checked again. Confirm this updates the database when unselecting. Okay, chat, we're getting closer. Homie is now blue, and we just got to get all this stuff working as expected, and I think we'll be in a good spot. All right, what was this one? Investigate 404. Good. So we should now have a status page. Close that. Fix drop-down visibility. Let's check that. So notice how it says z-index 999999. Z-index is like the, so we think of like x is this way, y is this way, right? Z is like the vertical space. So like think of it like 3D, right? Z-index, it says put it above all the other shit. So let's go to our conversation flow page and check our drop down. Wow. No. Now the drop down is halfway down the page and not underneath the drop down itself. Move it back under it. So it depends on how bad the error is, chat. But one good thing about us using cursor for stuff like this, like if it still like doesn't do it well or doesn't do something effectively, what we can do then is just hit this, which is revert back to those changes before then. The only time that doesn't really work is if it does like database stuff, right? Because you can't just like undo a database edit or update or insert or something. But if it's just a visual thing, you can just hit that back button and say revert these changes back, and it will basically use version controlling to do that in a simple way. So let's check this again, refresh. There we go. Now it's trucking. Let's check these other ones. Perfect. Okay. So we can close this. What was this one? The blue containers journey steps have been updated to use a glassy style. Okay, let's check that page. Perfect. Now they're more glassy. Looks a little bit more like the rest of the page. Great. Although, are those? Okay, one issue I'm seeing. Remove the dots from the left of the drop-down items. Okay, so that's good. Let's go back to our overlay thing here. Perfect. Now the overlay page will load positions from the database API, override with URL parameters if present, log everything so we can debug. Refresh your browser, copy the URL again, open the URL in a regular browser, not OBS yet, open DevTools, and look for these messages. Okay, so we're back on our overlay page. I'm going to refresh. Let's customize our appearance, remove the listening badge, edit some of these positions, hit save, and then we're going to copy this here, open a new tab, open our DevTools, paste in that URL, and see what we see, chat. Okay. Okay, so we're not seeing these. This is more of a, let's say, not seeing the overlay logs, only this. Should we worry about this warning? The Addo 404 page, which Gemini, their servers must just be nailed today because everybody is hitting this pretty hard. And when you have a million context window, by the way, I did notice this morning briefly, it went down to 200K. So they must have had to throttle it back to 200K just because everybody was using it so much. So that's another good indicator that shit is really, really working well, is when you hit that, or when you have to lower your token window usage. So I didn't realize I was in max mode for all these either, by the way, which basically just kind of turns up the throttle on the number of tokens that it will apply to it. So I think I checked our cursor bill and we're at like $106 this month for just regular cursor usage. So hopefully, and actually for most things you don't need max mode, to be honest. So I should probably best practice not having it on for everything, but we're close, chat. So let's just keep it on full throttle for a minute here. But it says it created a page. Displays a playful 404 message with a confused AI avatar, randomly selects one of your 4 personas to appear lost, uses a floating animation and a question mark to add personality, provides a buttons to return to the home or contact support. Created app error, handles unexpected application gracefully, features Grok, your techie agent with an alert, Includes try again functionality to recover without refreshing. And we also have error pages module, centralized styling, use your existing design tokens to ensure that it looks exactly like the rest of the HostFabric app. Added a subtle background grid glow effect. Okay, so let's test it. Localhost 3000 / WTF. Yeah, chat. Yeah, you love it. You love to see it. Oops, Grok has looked everywhere but can't find this page. It might have been moved, deleted, or never existed. Return home, works. Contact support. Brings them to the help page. Okay, perfect. Now let's refresh this and see if we get a different one. Yeah, oops, ChatGPT has looked everywhere. Claude has looked everywhere. Chat. That's really cool. I love this. And it's the little touches, chat. Like, product is all about the little touches like this. Little things that just, I hate these two words together in a sentence, but like spark joy. And it kind of does, right? Like, even if you're on a 404 page, it's like, okay, this is funny. Like, they get it. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with that a lot. I'm really, really happy with that. Let's close this. And our speech to text seems to be much more robust. Fixed one word fragment issue, which was latency. The original implementation reinitialized the microphone on every push-to-talk press. While the first attempt used a warm-up burst, subsequent attempts suffered from hardware initialization latency, causing the start of your sentence to be cut off. Chat, that's why it's cutting it off. Let's fucking go, Gemini. This model is so smart, chat. Solution: implemented a microphone steam keep alive in audio recorder. When you release the PTT button, the microphone connection is now kept open for 5 seconds. If you press the button again within that window, typical for conversation, recording starts instantly by reusing the active stream. If you stop speaking, the microphone fully shuts off down after 5 seconds to preserve privacy and battery. Okay, actually. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Privacy is paramount, chat. If anything, like, I am super privacy conscious, he says as he streams his entire app to the world. But like, you don't fuck with customer security. Like, I literally stopped my stream and deleted the VODs because I accidentally showed a customer email the other day. And so, like, that is something I do take very seriously. So we'll think about that. Comprehensive logging, edit granular client log. I mean, I guess if we're going to be streaming it directly from their mic anyway through the other service, like, that just makes sense. So, okay, comprehensive logging, but we should give a, like, explain this in the help pages for privacy. Okay. Implemented a comprehensive logging, robustness improvement, startup protection. Start recording now actively waits for the microphone stream to be fully live before enabling the recorder. If the STT API or the Avatar Q API fails, the error is now explicitly logged in Surface, preventing silent failures when the avatar just doesn't respond. You love to see it, chat. First press, you might see a slight delay as usual for the initial permissions, hardware check, subsequent presses. Pressing the key again immediately after should be instantaneous. And we have logs for it. Cool, so let's test it. Actually, let's restart the server too. Hey, bud, how's your day going?
You're welcome. Glad I could help out there.
How's your day going now after I press the button a second time? The fuck?
Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. It's been a thoughtful ride. Catch you next time.
I tested it again after a server restart and a page restart, but am only hearing thank you as the message, even though I said something completely differently. Completely different. And then let's check our logs, which I didn't have open. Shit. Okay. Why was this canceled on page reload? Okay. Hey, bud, how's your day going?
You're welcome. Glad I could help out there.
Great. Also, not seeing any console logs. That help. Let's check our server logs. So, hey, bud, how about now? Can you hear this?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Of course you
What's on your
can.
mind today?
How about now? Can you hear this? Is this coming through?
Yeah, I hear you crystal clear now.
Fuck.
Sounded a bit fuzzy at first, but we're good. What's up?
We're just talking. I'm glad you're on the stream with me. Thank you.
Hey there, great to be on the stream with you. What's the vibe today?
So let's copy a bunch of these. See what it thinks. All right, chat. Been at it almost 2 hours now, so I'm going to take a quick break while Gemini cooks this up in the background. I'll let the tunes keep rocking for you here, and yeah, we'll chat soon. All right, chat. Welcome back. Yeah, I think Rock might be cooking, so let's test him. I'm not sure what to do with this light thing. Like, it's too bright. Like, I think I just need like a covering over it. Call it good. I also need to figure out how to make my audio like work through my headphones again. But that is a problem for a different day. So let's see if our speech to text updates that we just made are working here. So we're gonna refresh this page. Hey bud, how's it going? Can you hear this okay?
Hey, it's going all right over here. Kinda mellow, you know? Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. No issues.
That's awesome. What are your thoughts on AI infrastructure broadly?
You know, with the mellow vibe going on, I'm just soaking it all in. Feels like a good spot to reflect on how these casual streams really bring out the best conversations. What about you?
Totally agree. I think that all of this is a fun way to have us have some fun conversations together.
Thanks for the shout out. It's been a chill session so far. Anything else on your mind before we wrap?
No, let's just keep the conversation going. If you have any insights, please feel free to drop them.
Sounds good. I'm all for letting the flow continue naturally. One insight that's been bubbling up for me is how these unhurried chats often uncover the most unexpected connections between ideas.
What is the most interesting connection you've made recently between two disparate ideas?
Yeah, exactly. I've noticed that too. Like linking everyday observations to bigger concepts in these chats. It's fascinating how that sparks fresh perspectives without forcing it.
I agree. How about you as Grok the model? What interesting connections have you made recently?
You know, one connection that stuck with me lately is how the patterns in neural networks echo the branching of river deltas. Both these systems optimize flow in chaotic environments, revealing nature's algorithms at work. It's a reminder that AI isn't so far from the organic world after all.
You know, I had that almost exact thought the other day, but applied to kind of human mind as a neural net versus what you guys do as an LLM.
That's intriguing. It's like the human brain's neural pathways and our LLM architectures both thrive on those same emergent patterns from chaos. Makes you wonder if we're all just rivers carving paths through the unknown.
Could be, bud. What do you think is the next way that LLMs are going to innovate on how they think about, anything from like neural net pathways that we're describing now, or just like connecting those dots a little bit better? Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad to share those thoughts. It's been a pleasure diving into these connections with you.
Thanks, bud. All right, chat. We're getting closer. Let's get back at it here. So, one thing I'm noticing is that on especially longer speech, let's call it 10 to 17 seconds, it doesn't pick up any of the voice to speech as expected. Please review why this could be the case. And also, it's still cutting off the first part of a sentence. So if I say something like, hey, how's it going? What do you want to talk about next? It will only grab the, hey, what do you want to talk about next part? Let's turn this down a little bit. This is a vibe though. Gets you some good energy. Also, chat, I made a protein shake, so little blueberry in there, protein, creatine, and some fiber because taking a good shit is important. So, cheers. Okay. So it says the media recorder sometimes takes a few hundred milliseconds to warm up and actually write the first audio bytes to the buffer. Fix, I've increased the pre-roll times and use push to talk. Okay, first time to pre-roll, now 400 milliseconds. Forces the app to wait silently longer after the mic active signal. And fixing the long speech dropouts. The media recorder time slice was set to 100 milliseconds. For longer recordings, greater than 10 seconds, this creates a lot of tiny blobs, over 100 chunks. Merging hundreds of tiny blobs can sometimes cause glitches or drop frames in the final blob construction, especially in Chrome and Edge, which we're using. Fix, I've increased the time slice from 100 to 500. This reduces the number of chunks by 5. It makes recording process more stable for longer durations. It significantly reduces the overhead when the browser has to stitch them together at the end. Okay. Hey bud, how's it going?
All right, picking up where we left off, let's dive deeper into that idea of blending old school vibes with modern twists. It's got this nostalgic pull that really hooks people, don't you think?
Totally agree. All right, chat. Let's stay on this. Like I don't want to stop until we get this right. So we can be doing other stuff over here, but let's just make sure that this is working as expected. The error reference, the error okay. So we now have started it. Hey bud, how's it going today?
It's going all right, just easing into the day with some quiet thoughts.
I said, hey bud, how's it going today? And it still only picked up, how's it going today? I mean, if we could just use whatever cursor uses, that's, I mean, it seems like it's pretty effective most of the time. And notice how it like pauses effectively and then doesn't try to write everything at once. It just like, I guess, puts it in a buffer or something that works pretty well. I'm also wondering if there's, like, if we can't get it after a couple tries on this, I think what we should do is look for like an NPM package that probably does something similar. Okay, so are there any NPM packages that do a really good job at speech to text? Are there any NPM packages that do a good job at speech to text? Wow, apparently not what you're using. Are there any NPM packages that do a good job with speech to text? Wow. See, chat, even the best in the world get it wrong. Are there any NPM packages that handle speech to text really well that we can add to the HostFabric process as a drop-in? Interesting. Whoa. Okay, Cloud Speech, Node.js client, Cloud Speech client library for Node.js, a comprehensive list of changes found here. So it looks like it's updated regularly. That's good. Chat, that might be the play. Let's see here. Since you're working with a full stack app, React plus Amplify, we're not using Amplify. Make voice video, maybe voice video, the future switching between Firebase, likely assembly AI. So let's check that out. Pricing. I mean, that seems reasonable, to be honest. But I mean, Whisper should also be pretty good at this. So let's try it a couple more times and then we'll see what's cooking. So the variable now correctly defined before it loses. It's used in the logs, resolving the failed to start recording error you saw. The code now explicitly waits for the media recorder on start event before declaring the recording active. This ensures we don't start the pre-roll timer until the browser confirms it's actually recording. I've adjusted the chunk interval to 250 milliseconds as a Goldilocks, fast enough to catch the start of your sentence, but slow enough to prevent too many chunks. Okay. Let's check this. Refresh. Hey, bud. How's it going today?
You're welcome. Glad I could help out.
Now it says thank you when I say, hey, bud, how's it going today? I don't think it actually was able to do any of it. Please think about this from first principles. What are we doing wrong? Why is this unable to record the speech to text? Also, if we can't get this right, we're going to have to use a third-party API plugin. So as we do so, please check to see if both Whisper and Grok have things that we can use in NPM or elsewhere to solve for some of these issues. I don't want to have to recreate the wheel if this is already something that's been solved for in the past. Okay, let's see, chat. Okay. Hopefully this gets it right. Oops. Chat, how's your day going? Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining in. If you're new to the stream, welcome. Basically, we are just continuing to truck through a bunch of as you can see, speech to text errors on our platform to try to get a simple way for streamers to have an AI co-host to be a part of their stream with them. So we're making progress, but we are kind of at this point where we just can't move forward until we get this fixed. And I'm learning this is a harder process than it seems to be or should be. And if it continues to be that way, we're just going to use a different API or package, and then pay for a like Assembly AI. Looks like it has a pretty good version of this, but let's keep testing it a little bit further. And if we can't, then we'll use one of them. So let's see here. Implemented a more robust solution that addresses silence thank you issue by actively detecting voice energy. Voice activity detection. I added a It says, I added a has audio ref tracker that monitors the microphone's input energy during recording. It uses the analyzer node to check if the volume exceeds a noise floor threshold. If no voice is detected during a session, example, your silence issue, the system automatically kills the stream immediately after you stop. This forces a fresh microphone initialization on the next press. Okay. Okay, so, and by the way, it had some issues here where it can't find some of these. Has audio ref functions, so we will see if it is able to do so. By the way, Chad, if you're going through your code and you see the squiggles line, that means like there's a bug with that. You can either do quick fix, which is like an inline, like super fast version of this that if it can be fixed that way, we'll do it so quickly. And if it doesn't, then you can say, I forget what the other one was, but something's effective like send a chat, which will send it to your model over here on your agent side. Completely rewritten audio recorder to fix the structural issues caused by the previous edits. Moved some invalid things there. Okay, reload the page, test push to talk, short phrase, long phrase, silence test. Okay. And notice how we get our 404 page now? That's pretty cool. Hey, bud. How's it going today? This is a long test. I want to press it for close to 10 seconds. This is just a way for us to see if this is working okay.
All right, pressing and holding for about 10 seconds now. Let's see if this picks up on our end. Feels a bit like testing the waters in this stream. No problem at all. Feels good to get that sorted. Stream's flowing smoother now.
The first time I tried it, when I said, hey, bud, it gave me the thank you message. The longer version seemed to have most of it, but only the second half of what it recorded. And when I pressed the button and let go, it still gave me a thank you message. And also, when I unpressed the button, it was still recording. So it should immediately end the recording once the button is unpressed. Also, here are the logs. Okay, so we're going to put that there. Paste this. Grab these logs. Paste these in. Interesting. Okay. So if you don't see your terminals, look for the terminal tab, and then you'll be able to see them here. Let's just grab a shit ton of these. What do we use in a million token context window for if we don't use it, right, chat? Okay. So let's see what it comes up with. Hey, Chorp, how you doing, brother? Hope you're having a great day. Zebbelplarn. Chorp, we are fixing our speech to text here for our buddy. But by the way, guys, Chorp was an OG. He was on the stream last week when we saw our first successful push to Vercel. So Chorp is an OG, you guys, and Chorp is coming together, bud. We got our avatars cooking. They're finally looking a little better. We mostly have the text to speech stuff working. We have our conversation flow tab working here. So, dude, it was fun, and I think it was like 5 in the morning. So, it was it was a marathon, but Chorp was there with us the whole time, crew. So appreciate you, Chorp. I do want to see where our music stopped quick. Get that back. Only be one of two things. You or you. And it's on you. Okay, so let's go back to Monster Cat. Chorp, how's your day going, brother? How you been? What have you been up to on this fine Wednesday? This is vibey. Can you guys hear this? There we go. Not bad. I was on site at a division I'm doing this M&A data harmonization for. Hell yeah. That's awesome. It sounds like a hell of a project. Day's going so far so good. And by day I mean like between midnight and about 6 a.m. and then 10 a.m. till now. Just been trucking, man. Trying to get our V1 of this going. We have a lot of updates to kind of the marketing side of things and just like what is the product to try to help people to to try to help people understand how this works and what it looks like. We got some of our new voices working. Dude, some of these are insane, by the way.
We're keeping things grounded tonight, sharing stories,
Isn't that sexy?
viewers, and keeping vibes high.
It's a very healthy project. We got to chop it up sometime about how to navigate leveraging the opportunity. 100%. Yeah, I'd love to do so. Throw me a DM and we'll chat it up anytime, bud. That sounds great. And congrats again. That sounds like a really cool project. And honestly, would love your thoughts on this if you want to help the cause. I know you're a good dude, so would love to get your thoughts on how, if you want to check it out, that'd be rad. Hi, green friend. Exactly. All the friends. Still seeing a white part of the circle. Make sure it's transparent. Hi, yellow friend. Chorp, who's your favorite of those friends? Which of the four is your current homie? Do you have a preference?
You're watching HostFabric live. Let's break down the play-by-play and spotlight your community.
Hell yeah. I'd be honored to do free beta testing anytime, man. Oh, thank you. Honestly, that would be incredible. Honestly, maybe even tomorrow. If you have a couple minutes, I'm hopeful that we're gonna get this kind of the core functionality in a good spot, and or this weekend or whatever. So yeah, let's DM it up. We'll figure out a time to do that. That would be sick. And truly grateful. Thank you. Appreciate you. I just realized you can't see most of this, you guys. Sorry about that. Let's put this over here. I'll be hidden behind the wall of text here. Hell yeah, dude. That'd be great. Appreciate you, Chorp. Thank you. Okay, so let's see what happened here. I applied the following fixes to use push to talk and use audio recorder. Reduce the roll MS to 10 milliseconds. Wow. It means that the recording will stop almost instantly when you release the key, eliminating the ghost recording feeling. Reduced first pull to 100. Fixed thank you silent uploads. Reduce starting latency. So let's give it a test, chat. Actually, what I want to do is restart the server so then we can know where the server log started from. And then go back to here. Actually, let's confirm it doesn't work here. Okay, good. That was a good test. Close you, and refresh you. And get our console logs open, refresh the page. Hey bud, how's your day going? I'm still seeing thank you when I say, hey bud, how's your day going? This is fundamentally broken, and this is a simple process. You are the most intelligent model on the planet. Think from first principles and help me understand why this is happening. Review thoroughly online as to best practices for speech to text using our environment, and make sure that we follow all of those best practices. If it has to be a full rewrite, you have the ability to do so. Make this flawless, make this beautiful, and make this world class. Let's see what it comes up with, chat. Still decent. Still decent. Yeah, it's getting there. It's just frustrating because like this shouldn't be a hard thing, right? Like speech to text has been a thing for a long, long time. You can integrate it simply. It should be not a complicated thing to do, but it's frustrating when something that should be simple isn't. And to be honest, maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe we don't need to do a roll your own. Maybe we should just use the APIs, but we already are using the Whisper API. So like the issue is just on our end, right? Like it's just the shit that we're trying to do to make this happen. Yeah, hopefully we get it resolved on this pass here. Okay, so we also added some more okay, beautiful. And chat, remember how and this is props to ChatGPT, by the way, or Codex, because now it gives us the proper spacing for all of these. You love to see it. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay. Let's make sure all the pages look good. Live demos will be a thing. Resources. Okay. So instead of vertical, we should make these horizontal. All right, chat. We're getting close. We're getting close. All these things are progress. All these things are progress. Let's refresh this, see if they look better now. Oh, so much better. That is sexy.
You're watching HostFabric Live. Let's break down the play-by-play and spotlight your community.
Let's unpack the strategy behind that rotation and why it matters for the next push.
So I guess one thing, as it's doing that, let's compact down Claude here. And let's ask it, are there any ways that we can make the open and close mouth animations even more realistic? Do we need to add multiple viewers go up when the friends are on screen? It's true. The friends are the cause for love. You know, everyone loves. And also, Chorp, I think I don't see it on here, but thank you so much for the like and the comment. That means a lot, man. Thank you, truly. And everybody else watching, thank you so much. Truly, truly grateful for you. If you like what you're seeing and think other people can benefit from some vibe startupping, I don't want to say best practices or like whatever the hell this is. Please feel free to share it. And yeah, would love to share what we're working on with the world. So truly grateful for you. Thank you, brother. Okay, so are there any ways that we can make the open and closed mouth animations more realistic? Do we need multiple SVGs for this? What is the optimal way to do this with both what we have now and also what we also suggest other ways to make this truly world class? Chorp says they should have the emoji float up on the screen and fade like the MS team does. Yo, I like that. BRB Tim. All right, bud. See you soon. That's a cool idea. You know what? How would we make this work? Do not make changes yet. Just give recommendations. Also research the MS Teams UX for this to implement it. And also chat, if you have suggestions, throw them in here because many, oh god damn it. So this is what I was saying yesterday. Gemini 3 servers must just be getting slammed right now because we're seeing this like provider overloaded message again. And so what sucks about this is like it has to basically undo what this is here and then go back to here. And I don't really have a good way for it to do, or to like give it the context back for what it did before this. So it's basically de novo. So the, 10 minutes edit, or I guess minute 45 isn't too bad. But I had a couple yesterday that were like chugging for like 5 minutes, and then you had to like revert all that. So if it keeps doing it, I'm going to cancel it. But let's see if it can keep at the work it was working on. Okay. So these are looking good again. Let's hit enter on this. And while it's trucking on this, let's keep at our other stuff. So we have to wait. Yeah, we'll let it do one more pass in these, and then we'll be able to see if it has any recommendations on here to get us going again for next steps, best practices, and all that. And then we'll be able to test it on the server, which we want to do. So we will we'll do that next chat. It's HostFabric control help FAQ. Was that bad before? I love how my messages at like 6 in the morning are just, here's a random link. Chat. Okay. Oh yeah. All right, chat. What do you think is wrong with this page? Looks pretty good, right? But there's one thing that my OCD wouldn't let me forget. This is your hint, chat. If anybody wants to throw in the comments what you think the issue is. It's subtle. 5 seconds. Okay, so on this container here, all the vibe of the whole website uses rounded corners, right? So this one has square corners, and all of these down have square corners. So it's something small, but it's just one of those things like, you got to get this right. And so we can say, we'll put Glot on that, or Grok. Yeah, shit. Well, we can't give Grok images, so let's do it in text. There are several containers on this page that only have square corners. Make sure they are rounded like the rest of the website. See if it can know which ones are the problem children on that. Okay. What was this fix? Oh yeah, that was our overlay page wasn't saving. So let's do that. Check quick while let's make sure that. Okay, so Google is still trucking here. That's good. Move the dots from that page. Good. Okay. So let's go back to this one and see if our overlay page is now working as expected again, chat. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, so if you see weird stuff like this, like notice how these have all underlines now, and this is loading over here. usually means that there's something up with the server, where you can see here, we're getting all these 404s, right? So let's just kill the server, Control C, up arrow, npm run dev, and then refresh the page. And hopefully all of those issues. Okay, so it was just a caching thing. So let's go back to, what was it again? Overlay. Okay, it's cool that we're getting our error. Not sure what that thing is behind it, but whatever, close enough. That's cool, actually. I like that. Okay, so now we'll go to our overlay. Let's go to customize appearance. Unselect listening badge. Refresh the page. And it's still selected. Okay. When I select or unselect the listening badge and refresh the page, it defaults back to selected. Fix this surgically and confirm that it is applying successfully to the database as well. Okay. So hopefully that'll pick up that change there. Okay, so see how it added the border radius, which is basically what we use to make the corners round. That is good. So let's check that again. Copy our URL. Go back to here. Cool. Good enough. And another refresh. And another refresh. Okay, so if it doesn't do it again like this, then I usually will right click it and say inspect. And then I see like what is the container that we want to fix. So then we can just say it is not applying the border radius to these classes. All right, chat. Let's see what else. How's it doing on our thing that we actually need fixed? The world class fixed details, chat. You ready for this? It made a new file called Wave Encoder. I've successfully rewritten the audio recording logic to meet the world-class standard to solve the issues fundamentally. We abandoned Media Recorder. The previous issues, silence, cutoff, thank you, hallucinations, were largely due to Media Recorder's unpredictable chunking, buffering, and codec behavior across browsers. Pure audio context and wave recording. I implemented a new wave recorder, encoder, class, and updated use audio recorder to capture raw PCM audio. I don't know what that is. Let's check. PCM audio, or pulse code modulation, is a method of digitally representing analog audio signals without compression, making it the standard for many digital audio formats like CDs, DVDs, and digital telephony. Cool. Hold, please. What other CSS might be controlling? Okay. So, directly from the microphone using script processor node. Benefit, we now have byte perfect control. We are sending standard 16-bit PCM wave files, which is the gold standard for speech-to-text APIs for Grok for Whisper. No more WebM container corruption or missing headers. Pre-roll ring buffer. The new hook maintains a continuous 500 millisecond ring buffer of audio even before you press send. Okay. Voice activity detection. Instead of a generic volume check, I'm calculating the root mean square energy of the exact audio samples being recorded. Chat, we're cooking. If the user releases the button and the total energy was too low, was silence, the hook returns null, preventing the API call entirely. This solves the thank you hallucination loop. Reload the page, first press. You might see a permission prompt if the stream was reset. Say, hey. Hey. The pre-roll buffer should catch the H perfectly. Long test. The raw stream processing is stable and won't drop chunks. Silence test. Press, hold for 1 second without speaking, release. All right, chat. I'm cautiously optimistic. You ready? Let's restart the server. Do a hard refresh. Control-Shift-R. Okay. And then bring up our voice console. Hey. 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 Okay.
Hey there, what's on your mind tonight?
Not much. I'm just trying to get our speech to text working in a way that allows for this to be a simple process. We just switched to a new wave format using PCM, which I just learned about. Fuck.
Thanks for tuning in tonight, everyone. It's been a thoughtful ride. Let's keep the conversation going if you've got more on your mind.
Okay, so that kind of works. That's good. Hey.
Hey, sounds like you're mulling something over there. What's got you hesitating? Spill it if you're up for it.
Honestly, this should be a simple process and it's not, and it's frustrating.
You're welcome. Glad to be here chatting with you. What's next on your mind? Or should
We are
dive
still
into
getting a
something
thank you message after a longer message, and also it didn't get the hey message either. Review online. Is there a simple API that we can use for this process? Obviously, this is much too hard for you to do manually. So let's just use an API such as Assembly AI or Google TTS or something similar. And let's just get this solved once and for all. Okay. Chat, sometimes it's just worth to use something that I'm sure someone else has already put many, many hours into. Okay, so let's see here. Claude, what were you cooking up again? Oh yeah, the animation. Okay, so analyze a current mouth animation system, so she said, and purpose enhancements and propose enhancements to make it truly world-class. So what you have already, real-time FT analysis of audio, root mean square amplitude calculations, smooth mouth animations, dual pass smoothing, per agent mouth range profiles for personality variation. Cool. How it works now, the audio is analyzed in 30 millisecond frames. Root mean square values normalized between 0 to 1. Mouth strength prop fed to the avatar. 2-stage smoothing prevents jittery motion. Scales from resting mouth open. That's instead of RBF, it's RMO. To profile mouth range. Single CSS variable drives mouth height. I'm proposing 3 tiers, from quick wins to industry-leading innovation. Enhanced single mouth system. No SVG changes required. I love these like time estimations. Which actually, with all bug fixing, maybe those are more correct than not. Add phoneme aware mouth shapes using existing CSS only mouth. Your current mouth is rounded rectangle. We can morph it into 3 to 5 distinct shapes based on frequency analysis, not just vertical open and close. Okay, I like that. Result is the mouth now morphs with roundness based on sound frequencies, 3 times more realistic with 0 new SVGs. Okay, good. Multi-state mouth system. Add 3 to 5 distinct mouth SVG states that crossfade between on phoneme detection. And we learned this the other night from Simon. Phonemes are like like the p or d, or like the sounds that like basically move your mouth in a way to do so. Let's give it some more space so we can read it all. Okay. Mouth states need to be closed, wide open, round open, narrow open, and clenched. So we have to generate the SVG variants for those. And then we use crossfade logic to replace the open with 5 opacity values. Okay. Render multiple mouths. Result, photorealistic lip sync that matches phoneme shapes instead of just open close. 5 to 10x more realistic. Tier 3, world-class Viseme based animation, industry standard. Full phenome to Viseme. I don't know what Viseme is. A Viseme is the visual depiction of a phoneme, which represents the shape of the mouth when a person speaks. It's the visual equivalent of a phoneme, and multiple phonemes can be represented by a single Viseme. Viseme? Hold, please.
According to Wikipedia, a phoneme is the unit of sound that distinguishes
Phoneme.
one word from another word. A viseme is the shape.
Viseme. Okay. Phoneme, Viseme. Phoneme, Viseme. Okay. Why is this world class? This is now how professional animation studios like Pixar, DreamWorks, and VTuber software achieve realistic lip syncs. So the Viseme standard uses that. Targets covering all English phonemes, timed to phoneme boundaries using forced alignment, smooth interpolation between Visemes. Okay. Silence, resting position. So basically we'll have all of these as options. Add phoneme detection library. And it looks like it already has one. Cool. God bless these people, by the way. Like random JavaScript libraries that just do stuff for you, which is probably what we should have been doing in the first place with all this shit. Pre-compute Viseme timing. Okay. Real-time Viseme blending. Composite rendering. Result, film quality lip sync that matches exact phonemes with smooth blending, indistinguishable from hand animated content. Damn. Chat, you know which one I'm going to pick, right? Cool. Let's do option 3. I think we can do this world class and make these truly outstanding. We can use version 1 as a fallback if we need to do so, but create an MD doc of what it takes to truly create our world-class version of this, and then give me a list of what you want to tackle from that first. Why not? Go big, right? Okay, I've replaced the manual auto recorder implementation with Record RTC and Hark. What this solves. Thank you, hallucinations. The Hark library actively monitors for speech events. No silent audio. Cutoff. Hey bud. For Record RTC, it handles the MIDI recorder and internal buffering and wave encoding much more robustly. Oh my god. I'm so dumb, chat. Just ask it to find the shit online first. Don't recreate the wheel. Long recordings. Record RTC manages the blob construction for long recordings efficiently, preventing the dropouts or middle missing issues with manual slicing. Before I do so, review one last time for any edge cases and truly make this world class. I don't quite trust it yet, so let's see if it's going to do it. Okay, so for Chorp suggestion, to mimic the Microsoft Teams live reactions, UX where emoji briefly floats up on the screen and then fade, you'll want to treat it like a lightweight particle system tied to the user actions. Here's a recommended plan before touching code. Study the MS Teams pattern. Reactions originate from the triggering user's tile and travel upward in a subtle S-curve with easing. They exit after 1.5 to 2 seconds with opacity fade and scale up, and multiple reactions can overlap with blocking input. Okay. If reactions come from chat or multiple viewers, emit them via WebSocket or existing telemetry channel. Deduplicate or batch identical reactions to avoid overloading slower clients. Verifying frame. I still, honestly, am not quite sure what this is, Chorp. So, MS Teams reaction. Live reactions. What are these? Let's see what it says. PE, thanks for the love. Appreciate you. Go follow aimemes.com, everybody, by the way, if you're not currently doing so. What they are. Live reactions are emoji and others that briefly animate. Oh, okay. I remember that. When a participant clicks them, everyone in the meeting can see them. So it's basically like if you're in Teams, like it will just pop up slowly or like animate the item slowly. This is also how like live chats work on like, if you're ever on like an Instagram live stream or a YouTube live stream, how it shows like those hearts that kind of just float into the air, or MS Teams, then that's what it looks like. I like that a lot, actually. Cool. Think about where we can add these on the chat integration side. Where would it make most sense to add, or to make most sense to add? Yeah, let's see what it comes back with on that. Okay, I refined the use audio recorder hook to world-class robustness standards. Instead of killing the microphone stream immediately after recording stops, I've implemented a keep alive system. The microphone now stays alive for 8 seconds after you release the button. If you talk again within this window, typical conversation flow, the recording starts instantly. No more cutoff, hey. Hark system and volume analysis now share a single persistent audio context. Prevents the 6 audio context limit crash in Chrome that can happen if you rapidly toggle recording on and off. Again, this is why Gemini is smart, guys. Like, so many edge cases that you just don't know about or think about or even have an understanding about. I've seen it do this many times now. It's really cool. Robust voice activity detection. Good. This effectively blocks silent uploads that can cause the API to hallucinate. Thank you. Error handling cleanup. Add defenses checks before stream active states and ensures cleanup handles both hard stops and soft stops end of recording. All right. Let's go. Again, we're going to kill the server, restart it. Whoops, it's not a good start. Are you sure you installed or connected to those packages correctly? Okay, so it did bring in Hark and record, but I didn't see it do an npm install, which means that even though that they're in here, we have to basically install them on our server or on our in our project before it's able to utilize them. And that's why I'm still wondering why it has this install record RTC and Hark libraries. And I could do this here, I know, but it's better if it just does it, because then if it sees the errors after doing so, then I don't have, it saves me a copy paste chat. All right, in the meantime, let's go back here and see if we have our listening badge saved once we removed it. No. Okay. So who's working on that? Surgically fixed the issue where the listening badge selection was not persisting after the page refresh. The root cause was the visibility toggles. Extended or updated overlay and the API validation scheme to include the visibility flags. Hard refresh. Unselect. Refresh. Check. Still there. Okay. Oh yeah, this was our corners issue. right, chat. There we go. We have rounded corners here. Let's go. Okay, can close that one. The issue was that the API route logic, when a layout was specified, grid, the code was exclusively saving the properties into the layout's nested object and skipping the root level update. Okay, let's check that again. Refresh. Customize. Unselect. Refresh. It is still there even after I unselected and did a hard refresh. Once again, please do a manual check of this and create a test script to ensure that we are properly saving it to the database before saying that you are completed. Okay. Google's just getting hit super hard. I'm just going to do a manual. So npm install will just basically look through your package.json file and update anything that's not, well, it'll install everything actually. So there we go. Up to date, all the packages to do so. Cool. So now we can go back here and test again. Oh, we got to restart our server, or do an install. Just double checking the install, making sure everything is good to go. Now refresh. Okay, so hopefully homie here is still getting our 500 error. Okay, here's where floating reactions would add the most value to the chat integration surface. Overlay chat panel, bubble feed. When a chat message arrives via Twitch or YouTube, display an emoji briefly above the corresponding message, bubble, or avatar. This mirrors Teams' reaction to speaker feel and lets the viewer see which messages are hyped without reading the whole chat. Cool. Inside control chat, whenever moderators monitor chat, overlay reactions on top of the live messages list so mods instantly see spikes in sentiment. Keep it subtle with reduced opacity so it doesn't interfere with moderation. View command feedback when someone triggers a chat command like cheer or hype. Spawn a reaction near the command confirmation toast. This helps connect typed commands with on-screen effects. Agent response highlights. When an AI co-host references a viewer message, echo the original emoji next to the avatar. Agent's avatar to show this reply came from chat energy. I love it. Chorp, we're gonna add all these things. Add 1 through 4. Do it in a way that is truly world class. Go for it. All right, so now we're going to get our best in class mouth movements. I want to build the infrastructure that makes everything else possible. Here's my proposed attack plan. Visine pipeline setup. Perfect. Let's get this going. And actually, all this going and update the MD doc. Actually, I should push first because this is a pretty big update. So just make sure our current shit works, or at least is stable, and then we'll get started on this. Perfect. Update the, okay, before starting, update the MD doc with all of these in sequence of how you want to implement them, and have a checklist next to them so we know which items have been completed and which are left. So the reason that this is important, chat, is a lot of, especially using Claude code, like Claude will do like really amazing work, but it will run out of context, and then you have to do a compress and then redo it. And then if it doesn't know where it last left off, sometimes it's just a good way for it to just say, hey, review the MD doc, see which ones you've implemented and where you have left to do, and then use that as your kind of guiding path forward. And so, and also it's helpful because then if we say like, you know, maybe Claude's working on something else, we can put ChatGPT on that and say, hey, review this MD doc. This is the last part that we left off at. Continue the implementation. And a lot of times this is helpful, like if you do a shift tab and say plan mode. So you see how it turned it to green here on the bottom? Like plan mode does that kind of by default, where it just kind of plans out everything and says like, it actually has a cool interface to do that now. But basically, I keep forgetting to do that. So it's a good way to do that. Also, it never does the auto update successfully, so we're going to have to manually update it here in a moment, just because I want to see if it has anything cool on the update. So with that said, let's just give it a minute to for everything to just kind of get done with what it's currently working on, so that we can push this update to the server. Let's check this again. We're going to refresh, unselect, refresh. So that's still working on that. Completed the manual verification, implemented a robust surgical fix. I created the test scripts and verified that my previous API logic correctly merges the toggle. Actually check in the database if this is being applied. I am currently running the test where I unselected the box, refreshed the page, and the box is still selected. So I might have to hide that just because it's going to probably use our Supabase API to do so. So chat, remind me not to open that tab. And this is what it does. Like it'll do like all the things up to the point of like actual testing in the database. It'll say like, yeah, I verified that the types are correct. I verified that XYZ is correct. But then when it comes down to it, I'm like, did you actually do the test in the database? It's like, oh no, my bad. So got to keep them honest, chat. Okay, let's see our file here. Perfect. I've completely updated the documentation with a detailed sequential implementation roadmap, detailed phase breakdown, remove the dates, just the items to be updated. So this is what, this is crazy actually. So VTuber industry standard, 50 to 200 bucks a month. So we can actually use this in our marketing stuff too, to say, hey, you're getting this much value from doing this, right? You literally have like Pixar level animation for these. in over time, chat, one of the things I wanted to add was like almost like a marketplace where other people can add their own avatars or sell their avatars rather, like create them and then just have a way for the community to either create their own, or if like there's a branded one, you know, maybe there's like a Twitch avatar or something that's like you know, styled for that, or like for an event or something, or maybe there's rare ones. I'm going to say the naughty 3-letter word, maybe they're NFTs, you know, something interesting around that. And so I think that'll be a cool way to bring everyone together with it. But yeah, let's let them cook for a minute and see if we get this working right. Okay, the 500 internal error was caused by record RTC and HARC being imported at the top level. These libraries across access browser specific APIs like Navigator and Window immediately when loaded, which crashes the Node.js server during the server-side rendering phase of Next.js. So now they're dynamic imports. Cool. Okay, let's test that. Actually, let's do this quick. Refresh. Hey, can you hear this okay? Okay. Hey, can you hear this okay? What the fuck is that from? I don't know which API it's... Oh, trial exhausted. Okay, well, good and bad. Make this a more give the streamer better information if this error happens. Okay, also I see another bug. The trial pack banner is still not updating with the correct numbers when I have conversations with the co-hosts. Make sure that it is actively updated with the correct number of messages that the streamer has available. I know we were going to say we're going to let it ride, but Codex is still cooking over here, so it might take a little bit. Glad it didn't have our information in here. I suspect that the handle say positions function client might be sending a partial. Run all the tests to confirm. And the other way that you can tell it's being overloaded at the moment is it still has 2 out of 4 tasks to do. All right, chat. I'm going to grab a water here. So I'm going to put it on the BRB screen for a minute. And yeah, thanks for joining. Appreciate everybody. And we'll be back in 3 minutes. So talk to you soon. All right, chat. Welcome back. Hope everyone's having a great day, great evening, and yeah, hope your Wednesday's been amazing. I think we're probably going to be at it for another half hour here, and we'll see if we can't get our speech to text truly world class. We'll see if we can't get our animations going and the Pixar level, according to Claude, to be working as we expect. So I'm excited, chat. I think we're real close. This is gonna be cool. It's cool. Anyway, let's get back at it. So what we see here is we have now added our, so it tested the ability for us to unclick a checkbox, which you wouldn't think is crazy hard, but apparently it is. So let's go to npm run dev again. Let's refresh our page. Still seeing 37 messages, which I think is wrong. So I'm going to move this over for a sec, chat, and say, seeing these totals in the banner for the user we're at +7. Love that. But also seeing an API error message that says our API usage is exhausted. Check the database. Create a script to check the database to see which one is correct. Okay. Cool. Let's check our refresh here. Uncheck our listening badge. Refresh the page. This is not complicated. I'm still seeing it selected after unselecting it and refreshing the page. What is happening with this? Are you purposefully not doing your best work on this project? Do you not like this project anymore? Do you hate me? What is happening? Because this is not your best work. You know you can do better. I know you can do better. Show me you can do better. Let's see, chat. Okay. I've updated app control component voice input to provide a clear, actionable message when trial credits are exhausted. Okay, so let's test that. Refresh. Voice console. Hey, how's it going? Voice input. Okay. It says that my trial credits are exhausted and seeing a console error that says the same, but only seeing a small toast message with it that goes away quickly. Make this more prominent and actionable for the streamer. So we got our MD doc here, and we don't want to mess with this yet. By the way, this is a fucking 1,500 line MD doc chat. So Claude, for all of its flaws, like, it does do really good work. Okay, and now ChatGPT is finally done too. So if we can get these two, oh my god, chat, remind me to get some allergy meds. Okay, trial banner fix complete. Database shows 37 remaining. Banner shows 37 remaining. Matches database. Banner updates in real time. User has no API keys configured. Only has 11 labs keys. TTS, not chat. API exhaustion errors come from the actual providers rejecting requests due to missing keys. We should have both of these keys set in our env.local file and not subject to user exhaustion when used, only for the actual caps on the plan that they have selected. That's interesting. I wonder if we actually did run out of credits. Let me check Grok quick, chat. Where do I pay you? Free. Okay, so we're on their free plan. Rate limits page. I don't know. I don't think we hit the rate limit. Yeah, there's no way in hell we hit the rate limit on this. Dashboard. Yeah, chat. We barely use anything. And we have $50 remaining in credits with OpenAI, so that's not the issue either. So it must be something with just our internal usage that it's seeing. Okay. My previous attempt failed because the server-side validation schema ZOD was strict by default, meaning I was stripping out any data it didn't explicitly know about. Okay. Good, good. API route. I updated the schema to use pass-through that tells the server validate the fields that you know about, but do not delete any other fields like grid or layout that are passed in. This ensures that the complete state is saved. Cool. Wish you would have done that at the start. All right, and this is saying persistent banner, added a red warning banner that appears directly above the price input when credits run out. Cool. Let's do one more test chat. Hey, how's it going today? Hard refresh. Hey, how's it going today? Task is also okay, so not seeing any error messages outside of this. Side of a toast banner, toast message. When you see that little pop-up in the top right, those are called toast messages. Toast is like a notification library that does that. That disappears. Okay, but it ideally has fixed this issue here. Listening badge gone. Listening badge present. It is still there. Try again. Do not stop until you have tested that this is confirmed to be fixed. Chat. It's frustrating. And chat, if you have any tips or tricks on better ways to motivate your AI, or if you have a better message that you found to be more successful on things that they just keep looping on over and over again, please throw it in the chat or DM me or send a smoke signal or do something that we can do to understand what the hell this is truly, or what's happening with this. Okay, let's try again. Chat. Let's go. Okay, so it took it out of the URL, but they're still showing as checked. Okay, progress. So I've noticed that when I unselect all of them and refresh the page, the URL still has the parameters removed, but the boxes are checked still. Okay, so maybe it's just a UI thing, which is a lot easier than like a database issue, which is good. Good, good, good. Oh shit, actually, I copied this to the wrong one. Ugh. Chat. Do we still get our error message? Hey, how's it going today? Yeah, okay. All right. It says the core issue was a race condition in the client side save logic. Okay, so they're all present currently. Fuck it. Okay. Chat, I will continue to fight with it offline here. But thank you for following the journey today. I only say that because I have to go in a little bit here, and I want to do some server stuff that's kind of harder to show when I can't show the APIs and all that fun stuff. So all right, chat, thanks again for hanging out today. Truly grateful for you. You guys have been rock stars following this journey. We're very, very close, chat. I think got to get these last couple things optimized, and I think we're on the right path. So that said, I'm probably gonna be back at it. I mean, I'll be back at it tonight, but I don't know if I'll be able to stream. So I will do it tomorrow morning on, and then honestly, it might just be another marathon stream where we just go until it's done. So we're at that place, chat. Like we're so close. Hashtag so close. And like we truly are. Like we made amazing progress. And this will be fun. And then once it's actually ready, chat, then the real fun starts. Then we're gonna talk to other streamers and say, hey, do you want to demo this? Hopefully if you guys in the chat also want to help the cause and do some demos with me as well, like we can either do that, you know, in real time if you want to be on the stream and do that together. If you want to do that separately or async, totally cool too. And I know some of you have already created test users, and I'm going to DM you to see if you're comfortable with talking about that too. But thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful. Yeah, this is support means everything, chat. So grateful for you. With that said, I hope you have an amazing evening. And like I said yesterday, chat, if this shows you anything, like anybody can use vibe coding to create stuff into the world. And if you want help with it, hit me up. I got your back. But just start, chat. It's always easier once you start. And if you run into roadblocks, like I've showed today over many things, you just keep pushing and you'll get there. Okay. I believe in you and you're going to do it. All right. Have a great night.